now, if you guys have any related for these products and or astronomy related questions, you can post them in the comment section and next part, and we will go to our Q&A session, and we will select some questions of Frank and Patrick to answer. So, okay, let's pick up some questions for you guys. Okay.
All right.
Okay, let me check. Okay, any question about the astrophotography and astronomy? You guys could be free to ask. What's your total weight? Let me check. Any comments? Okay. Let me check. Okay. So the fans ask what's the total weight? What's the total? I think it's piggyback to my small frame, so to collect both for all the time. So for the questions, I can sharing the SV535 with this one weighs around 482 grams, and the SV545 is around weighs 980 grams. 980 grams, so it's less one kilograms, and this is about half a kilograms. And what does that mean? So get the weight. I think it's a piggyback to my small frame. So to collect the small frame. Okay. So okay, let me check the next questions. For Frank, and did you remove the recordings in your Setiastro software? And that's very impressive. So Frank, this question is for you, and from Tofi.
Yes, that was done in Setiastro. So within Setiastro, I have ADBE, which is very similar to the script I made for PixInsight ADBE. So it does the simplified poly gradient removal first, and then it places a bunch of sample points on your image, and then does a RBF gradient model fitting to do the final gradient correction.
Okay. So for the next questions, and you help me with the Mark Jennings asked, what camera would you recommend? And I'm new to the hobby and own a Setiastro S50. And so what's your ideas about, Patrick? Do you have any ideas for these questions?
Well, to me, it's a no-brainer. The 571, it's the full-frame camera, would make sense to pair up with these telescopes, particularly the 545. But then again, if you're more budget-friendly, you might want to go a little bit smaller than the 571. But it looks like a good camera.
Yeah. So okay, Frank, what do you think about these questions?
Yeah, I would take the next step. I wouldn't jump in full mono. So an OSC camera is a smart move. A smaller telescope will give you better. It'll be less finicky for guiding and tracking and a bunch of things. So depending on your budget, right? You're looking at getting a mount, a telescope, a camera, and keeping with a smaller refractor is a great next step, because once you go big, the demands on the mount and the guiding and everything just go up exponentially, as Patrick can tell you. So when you're starting out, you don't want to get frustrated with the hobby, right? So the S50 got you in, got your feet wet. You want to continue that joy of the hobby and not just throw it all in the bin. So a smaller mount, a smaller refractor, get an OSC camera so you're taking color images. You're not messing with a bunch of filters right away. Maybe grab the light pollution filter. Svbony has a really great one. I have on my Newt continuously. I never take it off to help you in those light polluted areas as well. And that'll just help you progress in the hobby without getting too frustrated at times.
Yeah, and to answer Mark's question, a quick little story that I have. When I started astrophotography back in 2018, when I really got into it, I bought my first telescope. Frank, you'll love this. My first telescope was the SCT, the Celestron Edge 11-inch, which has a focal length of 2,800 millimeters. And to talk about being overwhelmed, diving into this astrophotography with such a long focal length, the 11-inch diameter or 280 millimeter lens, the tracking was horrible. I mean, I had to learn how to track, and of course your field of view is very small, so it was very, very difficult. So I would recommend do not start off with a very large focal length telescope. Go with a very small focal length telescope like the SC 545 or the 503 that you have as well. Those are excellent telescopes to get into astrophotography. I think the 503 is what, f7. I would not go above f7 for the focal ratio for a beginner. Go with the smaller, wider field of view, and plus the guiding is so much easier with the wider field of view. We call it fast telescopes. So much easier to guide and also to find your target.
Yeah, I'll say I actually started 2011 with the Nexstar 8SC, which was the 8-inch SCT on a bulk azimuth. So you want to talk about bad tracking, right?
Yeah, again, and all as that's you can use it, but you're going to have difficulty.
I even made a homemade wedge and really tried to do the best with it, but no. If you're starting out, don't do what we did.
Yeah, well, if you want to do planetary, that was one of the reasons I bought the 11 inches. I wanted to get into planetary, which you need that long focal length. But again, to start with, go with the low focal or small focal length.
Yeah. So let's make a conclusion. Yes, from Frank and Patrick, they both started with a very longer focal length telescopes like SCT 8 inches or Celestron 11 inches. 11 inches is both a very, very longer focal length and maybe with a very larger aperture size. And these are both very good for planetary photography and are the visual observing. And so for these questions, I start from myself because I'm also the green hand, and I think if you from my aspects, and I know you comes with your C-Star S50. This is a really good starter for the new hobbies. And but when you get along with time, maybe you want to do something by your own, do some real astrophotography by yourself. And if you want to do some planetary, and there are special planetary cameras like we have SV 705C, which is using the 662 sensors. It's a very high frame rates for planetaries, and also SV 705C, and it comes with the 585 sensors, which is both good for planetary and or beginner for deep space astrophotography cameras, and it's very worth it. And of course, if you do want to get distrusted, because for the real deep sky DIY, and you have to make a lot of choices for the mounts, and also the OTAs and the guidings, and so there are a lot of the things. A lot of things. I think there's a learning curve. I think, but I think it's much more easy for you can try some planetary photography, and then go to the deep space astrophotography. I think this is better. So let's check the next questions. Okay, and this question is for Patrick. And what was your exposure time on the test photos?
Well, yeah, most of these photos I took with the 5-minute subframes, 300-second subframes, and most of them were about 3 hours in length. But even with one subframe, the images were pretty nice and quite clean. But stacking them over the 3 hours of imagery produced some tremendous images, and using some of Frank's tools too. It doesn't hurt, but through PixInsight. But yeah, I mean, it's easy to do, really. Even a 60-second exposure on some of these, the brighter ones, the North American Nebula, came out really, really nice.
Okay. Okay, this one is for Frank, and I assume you have no issues integrating the camera and driver with ASR or Indy and whatever you use.
Yeah, so I'm an old school Sequence Generator Pro user, so I don't use Nina. Yeah. So I haven't jumped into the Nina bandwagon yet, but. No, they're just ASCOM drivers, so it interfaces just like any of the other cameras out there. What I really liked about this camera is it has a heater for the window, which was really cool to see when that popped up, that I can control to minimize frosting on the sensor that can happen when you're really trying to subcool it a lot. And yeah, it just interfaced really well. And then, as Patrick was saying, that power box, I have 2 power boxes on mine, and you could, I just, because as Sequence Generator Pro is old, it doesn't have the interface for them. But Svbony has software for those power boxes. So I have their software open, and you can control the ports on and off. You control the strip heaters with it, and it just works, which is great. That's usually the first thing I check is when I plug in the camera and get the ASCOM driver. Does it see it right away, or am I going to spend a lot of time trying to get this camera to work? And I didn't have that negative experience with their products yet.
Okay, so there's a question for since how long you have started Patrick and Frank, sir, what was your first camera to use?
Well, my first camera was the Canon. Was it the number 2i EOS, the Canon? Long time ago, back in 2018, I used that with the T-ring, of course, to connect it to the telescope in itself. But then the very first dedicated astrophotography camera I bought was in 2020, I think, or 2019, was the Altair 183 camera. And yeah, that was a little bit different than the Canon. So, but yeah, and then I kept saving my money and buying additional cameras, and now I'm really liking this 571 chip sensor. Those cameras are very, very nice. And also another camera I've been using a lot that I know you don't make it, but the Altair ZW, I mean the ASI ZWO 071. That's a nice little camera too.
So I started with a Pentax K5 DSLR, and I actually sent it off to get modified. And what's interesting with that DSLR is it has the same sensor as the 071C that ASI makes. And back when I was using that DSLR, I had actually gathered a bunch of technical detail and sent it to ZWO, requesting that they get that used in production because the sensor itself is extremely good for a color sensor. So I'd like to think I had a small hand in getting that sensor actually into an Astro camera. But my very first Astro dedicated camera was first production run ASI 120 mm. Like it looked like the old hockey puck thing, no cooling. Used it for planetary work. I think it was 2013. And then after that, I used that Pentax K5 for a long time. I actually built a Peltier cooling system for it, just because the sensor in there was that good, until I got an ASI 1600 mm, probably in, I want to say it was 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. So that's kind of been some of the progression. And I use a 294 chip right now, again from ZWO, but testing this 571 from Svbony it's really nice. It's a bigger sensor, again OSC, and as Patrick was saying on his Toptech one, it's just a great sensor. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw the dark frames I had. It's just low stochastic noise. There's nothing else on it, which is great. It's easy to correct then because of it. You're not getting weird. You're not getting weird issues when you're trying to integrate all your stack images. So that's what I was using.
And another thing, if you're going to be getting into astrophotography cameras, it's a good idea to buy a camera that will cool itself down, cool the sensor down, because that really helps eliminate the background noise. But here's the camera. Hey, my first camera right here. This is the Canon T2i. This is the one that I first used. Actually, I bought this probably in 2008 or so, just to shoot pictures of my garden. But then just getting a T-ring adapter for this, I was able to hook it into the telescope, and I was very impressed. But it's not a cool camera. It's cool, but it's not chilled down. It doesn't chill down the sensor.
Is that a Canon? Is that one is modified?
This one is not.
Oh,
Just a straight out of the box Canon T2i, which they probably is going into the archives now as an old camera. It's over 20 years old, I think. This one, but it still works.
yeah. So from let's make some conclusions. And from these two guys, they both started from the DSLR. So that's why we released of these products of our SV535, which is a very perfect fits the DSLRs, because the DSLR in general, first of start of the astrophotography. And I think most of our guys like their photographies, and a lot of them maybe have their the DSLRs. Which they need maybe just a lens or the OTA tubes, and just started from it, and then they go to their modified versions cameras, and then go to their dedicated cameras, and then you go to their cooling system version of their cameras, and from their smaller size, maybe from their 585 sensors, and also Frank has introduced 294 sensors, and which is I remember it's a 1/4 size of sensors. It's a fourth third size of the sensors. Then go to the big sensors like the here in my front place with the cooling version, and these larger sensors for SC571 and sensors, and much more bigger sensors, and with dedicated cooling system. So that's from the journey of the from one step by one step, and more professionals. And of course, I think there will be a long journey of the learning learning things from the astros photographies. Okay, let me check another questions. Yeah, yeah. As Luf said, on the other hand, you will quickly learn what's important if you start big. Yeah, yeah. If you start with a very big sensors, then you will learn a lot of things. Okay, Mark, thanks for advices and love your hobby and fully understand your readings. Okay, okay. So if you guys don't have any other questions, I think there will be the end of our Q&A session on parts. And let me thanks again for our two influencers and Setiastro and Frank, and also Heavenly Backyard Astrophotography of the Patrick. And thank you so much again, friends. And by the way, please don't forget. And if you like their channels, you can follow their channels, Setiastro and also Patrick, and they will have a lot of their contents about deep space astrophotography and something about the gears choice, and also the process of their software, how to deal with their deep sky astrophotography processing. And thank you so much again. And so you guys can take a rest. Okay, guys. So thank you again, Patrick and Frank. So you guys can take a rest. Okay. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, once again, thank you to our two friends for joining our live stream. Bye-bye.
So thanks again for our two influencers, and Frank and Patrick. And if you guys like their content, you can share. You can follow their channels down below here. There you can share down below in my frames here. You can take a follow of their channels, and you can learn a lot of things of the deep skies of the processing, and also the gears choices.